On this episode of China Uncensored, the U.S. thinks it might not be the best idea to let a Chinese company control your financial data. Wonder why. Hi, welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Shelley Zhang. Chris is on vacation until Friday, snoozing in his own desert paradise. But the news never sleeps, so I'm here to talk about how the U.S. blocked China's $1.2 billion takeover of MoneyGram. MoneyGram is like Western Union, but less well known. Like Mandy Moore is to Britney Spears. Except MoneyGram is probably not going to have a career comeback playing the mother of three mixed-race triplets, making Americans ugly cry every Tuesday at 9. Okay, seriously though, you can use MoneyGram to send money. It's helpful when you can't deliver cash, or mail a check, or use a credit card, or PayPal, or bank transfer, or Venmo. Okay, so I have never used MoneyGram, but apparently a lot of people do, because MoneyGram operates in pretty much every country. It has 347,000 agent offices worldwide. That's 10 times the number of McDonald's. I know, I also thought that there were way more McDonald's than that. Although, to be fair, some of MoneyGram's offices are just electronic kiosks, which is nice because then you can give them money without having to talk to other people, something McDonald's is also working on. MoneyGram is based in Dallas, and it's worth at least $1.2 billion. At least that's what the Chinese company Ant Financial was willing to pay for it. Ant Financial is owned by Chinese billionaire Jack Ma, seen here. He has flair. Yeah, he's bad. He's bad. You know it. Jack Ma also owns the world's largest retail company, the Alibaba Group. Alibaba runs several websites that are like the Chinese versions of Amazon and eBay, but much bigger. You can buy everything on there, from, phone chargers to beauty products to a wide selection of interrogation chairs. There's just something about a company advertising its convenient and durable interrogation chairs on Taobao. It just says so much about what's happening in the country. Perfect for prisons and police stations. 10-year guarantee. Okay, back to Alibaba before I scream. Alibaba made so much money for Jack Ma that he created his own financial services company just to process the payments. He called it Alipay. Later, he spun it off into Ant Financial. The weird name is because, and this is not a joke, Jack Ma thinks the small merchants who sell goods on Alibaba are like ants. And if they say, why, he'll tell them it's just human nature. Anyway, after a year-long review process, the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, or CFIUS, rejected Ant Financial's takeover of MoneyGram last week. They said it posed a national security risk. There were, quote, concerns over the safety of data that can be used to identify U.S. citizens. CFIUS is a committee formed of members from 16 government agencies, including the Commerce Department, State Department, and Homeland Security. Its main purpose is to review cases where a company from a foreign country wants to acquire a U.S. business that has sensitive technology, data, intellectual property, etc. Then it approves or rejects each transaction. Imagine it like having your mom approve everything you buy before you buy it. Do you really need another life-size BB-8? Honey, I'm just looking out for your national security. But unlike your mother, CFIUS actually approves the great majority of these transactions. In recent years, though, CFIUS has blocked a bunch of large deals involving Chinese companies, like in 2011 when CFIUS blocked telecom company Huawei from buying a U.S. company. U.S. presidents can also directly step in to block a deal, like in 2016 when President Obama blocked the sale of U.S. assets of a tech company to China. Or in 2017 when President Trump blocked the sale of Lattice Semiconductor to China. Still, even with this increased scrutiny of Chinese firms, a lot of people were surprised that CFIUS told Jack Ma to beat it. Remember the time Trump met with Jack Ma last January? This is what he said.
We had a great meeting, and a great entrepreneur, one of the best in the world, and he loves this country.
Now, at that meeting, Jack Ma told Trump he wanted to create 1 million jobs in the U.S. by having U.S. merchants sell stuff on Alibaba. Jack Ma hasn't done that so far. Not even close. He's actually been focused on having his other company, Ant Financial, take over MoneyGram. That would have taken as many as 2,700 American workers and put them under the control of his Chinese company. Now, that's not black or white, but it's also not the same as creating jobs. Jack probably figured he had a good relationship with the Donald, what we in Chinese call guanxi, a sort of relationship currency that's more valuable than gold in China. But Jack Ma is learning that guanxi has a pretty weak exchange rate with the U.S. government. They might still reject your takeover plan, even though you two guys are totally besties after that one meeting you had. So, how did Chinese state-run media respond to the rejection?
We hope the U.S. can create a fair and predictable environment for Chinese enterprises to invest and start businesses.
Which is like a lioness saying to a group of gazelles, "Hey, come on, guys, you gotta give me a fair chance. What's with the running away?" You see, the Chinese regime has never created a level playing field for foreign businesses. In fact, if you're a foreign company, you're not even allowed to set up shop in China without having a Chinese joint venture partner, giving your partner a majority stake in the company, and handing over some of your intellectual property. So when it comes to MoneyGram, if the roles were reversed and it had been a China-based company that an American company wanted to buy, the Chinese regime would have flat out rejected it, and they wouldn't have even bothered reviewing it for a year. Chinese officials understand that this is frustrating for American companies, and they've tried to use it as leverage in the past.
And past meetings between the two countries have seen China ask the U.S. for easier passage of its deals in return for access to the Chinese market, something the Obama administration repeatedly declined.
But now, not only has the U.S. been screening more and more of these Chinese investments, the EU will be too. Because the fundamental problem is that every major Chinese company that is big enough to invest outside China will have direct or indirect ties to the Chinese Communist Party. That's just how it works. But it means that as more Chinese companies go abroad, they'll get heavier scrutiny because other countries have concerns that their technology and intellectual property will be used by the CCP. And what will happen with Ant Financial? Well, Jack Ma will probably have to take a good look at the man in the mirror and realize that he's not as smooth a criminal as he thought. But his company will be fine. As for other Chinese companies looking to buy foreign assets, well, they won't stop till they get enough. So let me know what you think of the U.S. government's rejection of the MoneyGram takeover. Bonus points for using Michael Jackson lyrics in your reply. I'm Shelley Zhang. See you again soon. Thanks for watching this episode. Don't worry, Chris will be back at the end of the week. In the meantime, check out some of our other videos here on the left. And if you have suggestions for other topics we should cover, send an email to chinauncensored@gmail.com.